one thing you can say at this point is New Zealand net run rate to come down. It's going to take some heavy hammering by some team, which is not quite looking like a possibility. So after New Zealand defeating Netherlands by 99 runs, now you can say they are in some position. They are on their way up and up. I know there are some big tests awaiting them in the coming matches, but still, having said all of this, New Zealand looks like the team to really beat in this tournament. Will Young scoring a beautiful 50, 70 odd. Then Rachin Ravindra once again not disappointing with another 50. Towards the late end, you saw Mitchell Sander coming out and playing a cameo. And to add to that, Tom Latham, the captain's knock, as you can see, is a 53 valuable runs there, taking the score 322. And from there on, it was Netherlands who had a mountain to climb. It was not even Bas the lead this time couldn't do a job as well. But yeah, before we get into it, do not forget to check out our app Boomer 11. So our app is a free to play fantasy platform, and also we have got premium features. So if you are new to this, remember Boomer 11 has got premium features and the shop which is now available. Do check that out, and it is free of cost as well. Do check it out, and if you are here to check out a premium contest, buy a product on our shop and get into the premium contest, which can help you fetch a lot of goodies and a lot of prizes as well. I just want to let you know there are some interesting announcements towards the later end of the live which I'm going to make regarding our shop, which is Boomer 11, especially when it comes to some big vouchers for fantasy as well. Vouchers worth close for the DFS, we have vouchers worth 5,000 dirhams, and that's a massive one, isn't it? And remember to check that out, which I'm just giving you a sneak peek into what is awaiting you. So before we get into the live, do not forget to check out our app. It's Boom 11. Link is in the description, and check that out. Sandibani is with me, and Sharon is with me. Sandibani, welcome on the live. What a game by New Zealand once again, showing their dominance clearly in this World Cup. I know they've got an easy game this time around, but having said that, dominance is something which they have been ready to show in this World Cup from the very word go.
Exactly, and I think it was a very very smooth performance given the fact that all the top five got to starts. I think the only point that they will be really disappointed is with the fact that none of them went on to convert those starts into big hundreds, because I think today was the opportunity where say like in the last game we saw Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway really capitalized on their starts and didn't lose their wickets. But today, the top order were getting starts, were putting themselves in, and then getting out. So I think if one of them would have gone on to score that big 100, I think they would have had that ideal game. But apart from that, I think I don't really have anything that they will not probably have ticked by now, because New Zealand in the first two games they have beaten the defending champions, and now they got this easy win against Netherlands, who did put up a strong fight against Pakistan. Netherlands did bowl well, but I think it's the batting that they really should look into, because I think they are losing the plot in the run chases. 270, 320 today was still out of reach, but the one against Pakistan 280 odd, and the way they have especially lost wickets at regular intervals, none of the players really goes settles down and goes on to play that big knock. You saw three half centuries in the last game against Pakistan. Today, you just had Colin Ackerman putting on that one man show of 69 of 70. Very happy that he's batting at number three, like I said in the last live as well. But apart from that, I think they still have long way to go. I still expect Netherlands to pull in one or two wins in this season, the way they are playing. But New Zealand for the win today. They definitely look the dominant side.
Absolutely. There's no two ways about it, especially when it comes to World Cups and ICC tournaments. New Zealand do start out well. That's something which we have seen historically as well. But let's just talk about this New Zealand team without a Kane Williamson, without a Tim Southey, how comfortable they have looked. They have not looked like they put a foot wrong. I mean, the planning is something which we always appreciate about this New Zealand team. And once again, the planning has been top notch without a single error.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point in time, you would say, does New Zealand really need a Kane Williamson or a Team Saudi? Kane Williamson still, I think, for the reason that Sandipani particularly mentioned, that's the one thing about that's the difference between average players and great players. Not to say that any of the New Zealand top orders are average players, but Kane Williamson, you never see him really give his wicket away. And today, I think it was a kind of pitch where the top order really needed to perform, and they did. It is not like the New Zealand top order utterly failed or they did not look good, but like Sanimani mentioned accurately, I think the only thing they will gain by Kane Williamson coming in to the lineup. Now, I'll be very frank, after today's performance and the performance against England, I don't know if Tim Southey will make it into the bowling lineup. I still believe very good chance that even if he's fit, they might just keep him out. until and unless someone else gets injured or there is really there's a need that they feel for someone like Tim Southee, which I personally don't think there is at this point in time. When it comes to batting, maybe there's a slight bit of lack of inexperience, because you saw the way Devon Conway, Will Young, and even Rachin Ravindra got out. It was very casual wickets that you don't want to be giving away when you are on top, and that kind of helped Netherlands kind of crawl back into the game, because the way New Zealand were going, it just seemed like 322 wasn't where they were destined to reach. It felt like they would reach into the late 300s, maybe 380s or so. But really well done from Netherlands as well. That's why I have to give them credit. They never allowed New Zealand to get away from them. Took wickets on regular intervals. Played the pitch well. And their bowling has done a decent job. It's just that their batting is not being able to keep up with the bowling attack of international standard.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to really look into the Netherlands as well. Give them that bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Remember, it's a major World Cup against a quality opposition who just defeated the defending champions, as Sandeep rightly mentioned. But one thing which really stood out for me was the bowling lineup with which New Zealand went in. I understand it's a Netherlands game, and that could be one of the reasons or factors which they would have considered, maybe shortening a bowler, shortening a spinner in his Sodi. And going with Lockie Ferguson was a good option, definitely. And adding to that, Rachin Ravindra was their fifth bowling option as well. Sandeep, I think going ahead, we did discuss about it earlier on as well. New Zealand have got a possibility of playing with this bowling lineup because they can afford to drop a spinner because they have a Rachin Ravindra in the top of the order. And to add to that, because of this very reason, they can bring in the third seamer.
Exactly, and Rachin Ravindra, I think if you ask me 1 month back, he wouldn't have been a sure shot starter in this playing 11. They would have definitely preferred Ish Shodhi, because New Zealand bat deep. They have enough all-rounders not to rely on somebody like a Rachin Ravindra. But the performances that he has started putting on with the bat, especially from the warm-up game against Pakistan, then you got in the last game he scored his maiden 100, and then today you had back-to-back half centuries as well. So the starts that he's giving with the bat as well, and he is probably batting at the spot where Kane Williamson fills bat once he's back into the side, or probably a Mark Chapman prefers batting at number 3 for New Zealand. So he's taking that spot and he has made it his own. If New Zealand are losing a wicket at really early, it's almost as if he's opening the batting. He's coming in at number 3, taking the new ball, and he is very comfortable against the spinners as well. So I think he is in that purple patch of form with the bat, especially that gives them the leeway to use him as the fifth bowling option and to drop an Ish Sodhi. I would still feel dropping a Ish Sodhi is a very, very big call if you consider in more crunch games. I would still prefer Ish Sodhi over Lockie Ferguson on any conditions, because number one, Lockie Ferguson is not in the best of forms. Number two, Ish Sodhi is that wicket taking option. We have always said for maintaining bowling partnerships, we need that one bowler who will pick wickets and the other bowler who will restrict the run flow. If you look at Mitchell Santner, if you look at Rachin Ravindra, they are more of defensive bowlers who look to stem the run flow. But Ish Sodhi is that wicket-taking option. Even if he goes for 65, 70 runs in his quota of 10 overs, he is bound to give you those 2 to 3 wickets. Having said that, I think Mitchell Santner did not really make them miss Ish Sodhi too much. Picked up 5-wicket haul. It was a brilliant performance. But the pressure was on Netherlands as well to score runs quickly, and some of them just go away the wickets cheaply as well. But all in all, I would totally agree with Jaden's sentiment regarding New Zealand's batting as well. They were not looking at 320 with 238 for 3 after 40 overs. It brings me to the point that a Glenn Phillips and a Jimmy Neesham needs to score. Not Jimmy Neesham. I think it was Mark Chapman at number 7 today. So yeah. Glenn Phillips and Mark Chapman, they need to start scoring. That lower middle order for New Zealand needs to start firing. You can't depend on players like Devon Conway, Darren Mitchell to do the job for you all the time.
Yeah, truly. That's one factor definitely which they will have in mind. But now, lengthening the batting is not a bad option for this New Zealand team as well. Just saw Mark Chapman walking in number 7. Having said that, Glenn Phillips hasn't really showed a lot of things in his ODI career, and we've had that criticism on him. And Mark Chapman and Glenn Phillips in one lineup could be a good option as well. I think once Kane Williamson returns...
Today, if I'm not wrong, Jimmy Neesham played against England, but they just shortened the batting order by bringing in Lockie Ferguson instead of a Jimmy Neesham. So I believe, at least from the manager's perspective, they think that the current 7 can do a job and they don't need an extra batter like Jimmy Neesham at number 8.
True. That's definitely the way to go.
But that
now
is okay and fine unless they have that collapse. like I used to
Yeah.
say about RCB as well. I mean, the top order looks brilliant until and unless they have a collapse.
Yeah, but I still think Daryl Mitchell coming at number five. Most likely, he'll come in at number five. Come Kane Williamson walking into the side, and Tom Latham at four. And I think Rachin Ravindra will go to number two in the opening position. But it'll be unfortunate for Will Young as well because he might have to be dropped. I know he
Not
played a good
unfortunate.
knock
I
today.
think Will Young is definitely not their not their best 11. He's not a player of their best 11. He got a good knock today. Scored his maiden World Cup
But
half
definitely,
century.
you don't mind dropping a Will Young for a Kane Williamson any day because
Definitely
Kane
not.
Williamson
Definitely
walks
not.
into that team.
Straight away
And
drop Will Young and Rachin Ravindra opens on spot.
but now the biggest question is: would you consider opening with Kane Williamson as well? That's not a bad option to go. Given you can give him that extra bit of time, make him play in the power play, and see how things go. Or maybe you want to go to the attacking way.
I
Sachin
wouldn't
Ravindra and
want
Devin Conway
to.
can
I
really
wouldn't want to really
contribute.
tickle with the combination that's working for us. Devon Conway and Rachin Ravindra are putting on great partnerships. They have a good bond. It seems like they are working well together. So I wouldn't really want to disturb that. I can probably, and Kane Williamson's will be more suited and will be more comfortable coming in at number three. We have seen that he has had successful stints opening for several teams, but it was a disaster in the IPL. In one of the occasions, and I think he prefers batting at number three rather than taking the new ball. T20, it's still a different ball game altogether. You want your best batsman to play more balls, but in a one day, I think number three is where your best batsman or the most stable batsman should come into bat.
Yeah.
Truly,
I think also just making a case for Ravindra to open in the England game as well. When Will Young was dismissed so early, it was Rachin Ravindra and Devin Conway who basically opened the batting by Rachin Ravindra coming so early. And as Sandeep Ali mentioned, they both have a very good bond because they both played for Wellington together in their domestic cricket times, and they've opened together as well, if I'm not wrong. So, which
Yeah.
means they know each other's game really well. And Kane Williamson, again, I think he's a good opener when it comes to T20 cricket. But yeah, one day cricket, I think number three is perfect for him. No need to change, he's not broken.
I mean, that is one thing about them as well. New Zealand will always tend to get these all rounders every now and then who can ball in the top six, top seven. That really adds value to this team. If you look at this team historically as well, they've always had a baller in the top five or top six. Maybe it was Scott Stuyvesant. So let's go in last World Cup as well. They've had Jimmy Neesham to do a job. He went on to play even in the Super over there. So that has been their biggest strength over the years, and I don't think they will have to deviate from it. And now I think getting Rachin Ravindra is a big blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Someone who's batting in top three and contributing 10 overs with the ball. And remember, they will be going to play against Bangladesh next on 13th, if I'm not wrong, in Chennai. And there as well, I think Isori might just walk into that team and Lockie Ferguson will have to take a back seat. I think that's a good option considering the fact that they can keep switching combinations depending on the conditions. And that's a hallmark of a good team. You can be a team of 10 and the 11th player can always be a player who can be put up for the conditions. And I think in for New Zealand team as well, I think it's going to be a switch between Lockie and Isori. When we talk about India, it's always going to be a switch between Shardul Thakur and Ashwin.
Yeah.
Similarly for New Zealand as well. So I don't mind that being that's being a question for the New Zealand team. I know on any other team, maybe Isori might be a starter as well. Unfortunate he has to miss out. It's also because of how Rachin Ravindra has performed with the bat. And when you talk about Mitchell Santner, he's not put a foot wrong in this World Cup. If you talk about the last two World Cups he's played in India, the 2016 T20 World Cup or this one, he's been one of the catalysts in these performances as well. How he has really helped New Zealand team to push through into the next stages. But Sandeep, talking about which the Netherlands team, right? I mean, what is next for them? It's not going to be an easy task coming into a World Cup and defeating the big boys. But as you mentioned, chasing has been an issue for them. Maybe look to bat first. But I still think they've got bowling, which has been not quite bad. Baz has been the best death bowler in the world looking at the stats in the last 1 year. 13 wickets at an economy of 8.92. That's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I think Netherlands have had a stronger suit with the ball. I think they have the talent with the bat. When you look at the batting lineup, as I said last time around as well, you have Vikramjit Singh, Max O'Dowd, who were in great form. Max O'Dowd in particular. Then you have Colin Ackerman coming in at number three, Baz de Leede coming in at number four. All of them can really tong the ball. And then you have Nida Manaru, if I'm not wrong, coming in at number five, who played that crucial knock in the qualifiers to beat, I think it was Scotland, where they got centuries and they got some 370, 380 runs. They chased it down comfortably. And then you have the previous captain, Scott Edwards, coming in at number six. I think they have the batting talent to really pull off a miracle or pull off an upset, if I can use that term, or upset some of the greater teams. But I think they'll be happy that the next team that they face is probably their favorite ICC opponents, because they are going to face South Africa on the 17th. And you never know. I mean, T20 World Cup heroics can repeat itself. But I mean, South Africa looked really good against Sri Lanka the other day. And their batting, I mean, the hard hitting South Africa is showing. We have seen Henrik Klaasen in the series against Australia as well put up something spectacular. That number 4, number 5, number 6 between Aiden Markram, Klaasen, and probably a David Miller, they are doing the job for South Africa with the bat, followed by, I mean, supported by a Van der Dussen and a Decock at the top of the order. So I think it's a very, very strong South African side, especially with the bat that they're facing. So
I think
their
before that, I
bowlers-
think South Africa will have a challenge to face as well. I think South Africa, we can
yeah,
judge
South Africa
them.
has a challenge to face. Yeah,
I think
But,
they're playing
uh,
England before that.
yeah, they're playing England, I guess, on 12th, if I'm not.
Yeah, England on
Oh,
the
they're playing
Thursday.
Australia on 12th.
Or Australia on the 10th.
12th, 12th.
12th in
12th,
Lucknow, if
12th,
I'm not wrong.
Australia.
On 12th in Lucknow.
So that is going to be tough for them,
Yeah, in Lucknow.
but I think Netherlands will definitely have their jobs cut out, especially the bowlers. You talk about Bas de Leede has been a great bowler in the death overs. Paul Van Wickeren, I'm a huge fan of him. And also, I think the spinners have done a decent enough job. Aryan Dutt and Rolf van der Merwe,
Yeah,
with all
very
his
impressed
experience,
from Aryan Dutt
are,
especially.
yeah, are just chipping in. And especially Aryan Dutt is coming on top of the order, bowling with the new ball, getting those maiden overs, picking up wickets at crucial junctures. Even in the game against Pakistan, I think he came back and picked up Rizwan at a time when they were really looking to accelerate and take the game away. So I think the
True.
bowlers have done a brilliant job, but they'll have their jobs cut out against South Africa. But the batters really need to step up. They have the batting. Let's see how they fare against South Africa, and then we'll see. But I still
Yeah.
expect they'll win 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, because when you're talking about this main team as well, about the Netherlands team, one of the biggest questions was going to be their batting. Vikram Singh looked good in the first match. Basilide, I still think is a quality player to take on them, but they need at least 3-4 support roles to two main players they've got, and someone taking up the mantle. I mean, Scott Edwards. I mean, he's been thereabouts. I don't think he gives this team the confidence to say that he's going to come in number 6, number 7, and change a game. So this is where you want players to play a crucial role in comparison with anything else. And one of the major factors, one of the biggest disappointments for me is how Max Rohr has performed in this tournament so far. He is expected to be one of the power pack players, and whatever we've seen of him, the T20 format at least, he's got the ability to change the game if he is there in the crease. And I am hoping that if he comes good in the next game against South Africa, which is not going to be an easy task at all, they're a very good team, but they will maybe take some confidence about how they defeated them in the last T20 World Cup. I know it's a different format, different situation, everything was different. But at least looking at those factors, not a bad way to
But
go
the team
against them.
compositions are the same.
And
I
I
think
think-
the team compositions more or less are same.
Yeah, but I think South Africa is a far better one-day team than they have been a T20 team. They've also improved a lot in T20 over the years, and Netherlands as well is not as good a T20 team as they are a one-day team. I mean, their T20 is, I think their players are much more suited for T20 than it is for one-day. But I mean, having said that, that match, I think if I'm not wrong, that South Africa match, Netherlands going to play in Dharamshala. So if there's one ground in the world, I mean, in India, that South Africa will feel at home, it's going to be Dharamshala because the pace and the bounce. And from what we are hearing, I think today also one of the commentators was talking about how when he had gone to Dharamshala for those for one of few trips around. I think,
But the biggest
Simon Dewell was
the
saying
biggest
that
issue with Dharamshala now is the outfield.
outfield, yes,
A major issue.
the outfield has been a major issue because I mean I think Josh
Fungal
Butler,
infection is what it's undergoing.
yeah, and they're worried that players might get injured and diving is going to be a big issue. So hopefully by tomorrow or so it gets rectified. Because
I don't think.
I mean, I heard that
Not
the
too
groundsmen
worried.
are working on it, but it's going to be a tough call because you don't want the players to get injured ultimately, and it's a bad name for the country if international level ground
Yeah.
has caught those kind of issues. Really.
But funnily enough, this happened 3 weeks ago, or
Yeah.
at least 2 weeks ago, on 24th of September, around that time, was when they identified there was a fungal infection. And when an ICC inspection was conducted, ICC did rate the outfield to be poor, not in standard to play a cricket game. But despite of that, they did not have enough time to maybe, recover in
Substitute
time
with some
and
other
maybe do
location.
something as well. So it's been unfortunate how things have played out in Dharamshala. Remember, Mohali did not get a game in order to maybe accommodate Dharamshala, and
Yeah.
finally it's been Dharamshala who's been under scanner. Picturesque ground for a World Cup, but maybe not the right playing conditions for a World Cup. So maybe outer beauty doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
when what's happening inside is not really good. But having said that, that's about it for today's live. Before we end the live, remember to check out our app as well. And I know a lot of questions have come on the predictor feature at least. Remember, predictor feature is possibly your arena to go out and check all the new features what they have given in terms of predictor. One of the major things about predictor feature is also that you can go out there and predict what's going to happen in a match before what's going to happen, and you can win prizes there. Obviously, one of the biggest questions what we have is, do we win bigger prizes or not? Yes, you do win bigger prizes with the predictor feature, and you can actually get in touch with us if you have any more questions on the predictor feature, because there are a lot of questions on the DFS prices as well. So we are ready to rectify that. And now for all the India games from here onwards, you're going to win massively, and you're going to win prizes worth 5,000 to start off with. Isn't that exciting, Jiran?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to see both their country and themselves win some money? I think if I was getting a 500 dirhams or so, I would be okay if India does lose the next one. But that's just saying if I get 5,000.
So he's ready to change his loyalty
You know,
for the
it
money,
helps.
right?
It helps when you get a little bit of money. That's all.
So that's what he's ready to change the loyalty for the money.
I'm not ready to change loyalty.
Yeah, see, guys,
It'll
see,
just
guys,
soften
note
the
that
blow.
down. Note that down. He's ready to change loyalty for the
I'm
money.
just saying it'll soften the blow of India losing.
But I
Okay,
think
yeah.
it is a very, very wrong thing to say, especially in World Cups. And
I
also,
think
we
except
haven't
for
won the
Pakistan,
ICC One
I'll
Test
okay if India
Championship.
does lose with another
So we
team.
don't even have a
Pakistan, I will
consolation.
not take any money for India to win. I think that has to be the one match that I want India to win at all costs. But yeah,
I
aside
want
from that,
India to win
I
the
mean,
World Cup. I want them to win all the games.
So remember, for the India games, you can win 200 dirhams as a first prize, second prize is 100 dirhams, and 50
Yeah.
dirhams is third prize. For other games, you can win 100 dirhams, that is close to 2,000 rupees, and 200 dirhams, which is with vouchers, Amazon vouchers, and premium content you can win definitely bigger. And predictor feature is also available. Remember, it is your opportunity to win big with Boomer 11. So this is the biggest thing. And I have a comment from Kapil before before we end as well. I think we'll just take it up quickly. Is New Zealand peaking from the start, or is it dangerous conditions for India to compete against them? Definitely, it's not going to be easy for India to compete against them, because last time we defeated New Zealand in the ICC Cricket World Cup was way back in 2003. So it's been close to 20 years, 2 decades since we last defeated New Zealand. And some of the players were in, I think Shubman Gill
But
was
on the bright side,
happiest when he
the
was
last
captain.
time we defeated New Zealand, we went on to make it to the finals of the World
And we
Cup.
lost.
and
so,
we lost. So,
let's not talk about that. We don't want to
But we
talk
also
about
lost to Australia, so that's
Yeah, it
one
doesn't
jinx that
matter.
has been crossed.
It doesn't matter. So we don't want those kind of superstitions working. We'd rather lose to New Zealand and win the World Cup rather than winning against New Zealand and losing in the final.
No,
I'm
we'll
sick of all that.
win against New Zealand and
But
win
we
the
have a
World Cup.
score to settle. You know,
we have a score to settle.
we have a score to settle every
Like
time,
England had
every
against-
single time.
I think like New Zealand had against England.
Yeah.
We have a score to settle against New Zealand.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't work that way, I think. Since 2019, every time we face New Zealand, we have a score to settle, and New Zealand ends up trashing us. Let it be WTC, let it be the T20 World Cup, it's always been against us. I hope we don't have any scores to settle New Zealand. We are here to play cricket, play some good meta cricket, enjoy Dharamshala's conditions.
Yeah.
Hope the game doesn't happen,
You-
because I want to protect the players, and we can go back
you
chilling.
sound like Dhoni on that Oreo ad.
Yeah.
Result के बारे में मत बोलो.
Mat bolo. Just enjoy.
Enjoy
No
the process.
2011 Oreo introduction and all that nonsense. Let's just chill, guys, and have a good night, all of you.
And
See
have
you
an
all then.
Oreo.
And I play on Boomer 11. We're not promoting
Good night,
Oreo here.
guys.
Bye.